All right, so it's the 4th of July today, so happy Independence Day to everyone. I'm sure this video will come out later, but I'm kind of doing the last final push. A few things I wanted to do was make some makeshift like fender liners, because those tires kick up rocks and then they end up on the door jambs, the door pivots, and then they crunch and make a bunch of noise. So I want to do something about that. And I was looking at the car. As you see, I got my alignment tool set back up again, because I thought it looked like I had some toe out here, but then just measuring from side to side, I think I just have the wheels turned a little bit. Unfortunately, when I was driving the car last night, I did notice that my steering wheel is off to the driver's side, so it's a little bit off. I have to kind of keep the steering wheel to the left in order to keep the wheel straight, so I kind of overdid it before I had it to the right. So, but I don't think I'm going to worry about that before Motor City Foxfest, although I could probably fix it pretty quick and easy right now, maybe. But I might just let that be. The main thing I want to do is like try to get the dash back in here, so the upper part of the dash, get that back in here, maybe throw some door panels on here, do my makeshift fender liners just to block stones from being kicked up there. Okay, so you can see I have the wheel off again. I did mess around with the toe on here, and then once I started messing around with that, I realized I never tightened down these jam nuts on here. So as I was trying to turn stuff, I think this thing was turning, so I just couldn't get my toe set right. So I did mess around with it. Had the wheel just barely off the ground, so the control arm was drooping a little bit, but I did set it back down on the ground after the fact and double checked it, and it was within like a millimeter or half a millimeter front to back on the rim. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. But one thing I'm really dealing with, I don't know if you can see it back there, you got the door hinges. Well, these tires like to kick up a lot of stones, so I did it on the driver's side already, but I made a little fender liner that'll basically fit up in there, and I'm just taping it up in place for now. So not getting anything too fancy, just wanting something to stop stones from getting up into those door hinges, or at least not so bad anyway. Probably still get some through, since it's not like 100% like watertight, so to speak, with this. But I just used some tag board and made some templates and then cut it out. My son had some ABS plastic laying around, so I just cut it out of that, and I'm just, like I said, taping it up in place in the fender there. We're finishing up, I think, here for our 4th of July holiday, but I did decide to put these fender flares at least on the front, and I think they look all right. They'll serve their purpose. I think I'm gonna have to trim off of here to make clearance for these tires to turn, but that's okay. But I'm really actually kind of enjoying this, having fenders that I just don't care about, I guess you could say. Not to be mean to my good little car here, but I just mark stuff up on here, use tape. Just, it didn't want to stick very good up here, so I just used some of my Gorilla tape, and it's just kind of nice not really caring about how it really looks, just because I'm trying things out. But yeah, these fender flares I had to cut off, just a chunk off the bottom of each side. And then I just used some 1/2 inch wide 3M tape. This stuff here, double-sided tape. Use my Gorilla tape just to kind of hold them in place. Drew on them with a white paint pen, lopped off the ends of them, I think that's gonna do. Maybe I could even use some of what's left down there and build, I don't know, like little mud flaps here or something, but oh well. I think this will kind of serve its purpose, just to kind of give it a little more of a finishing touch. And again, on this side, again, this is the rusty fender. And again, it's kind of nice not caring about leaving marks and stuff. I just used a white paint pen and right around the fender flare for where I wanted to stick it onto this fender and just let it rip. But I'm debating if I want to throw the fender flares on the rear here. I might, just to kind of cover up my makeshift duct tape fender flares here, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a finishing touch. Although I'm kind of digging that look just for the hillbilliness of it, I suppose you could say. I have a feeling that's gonna, yeah, maybe I will put some, because I know that's gonna leave a lot of adhesive residue, so maybe I will put some of those fender flares over it just so that's not getting so hot in the sun. But working on some of these final touches so that I can load this car up on Sunday evening, hopefully, in the car trailer. Then we'll be on our way to Michigan, leaving on Tuesday evening, stopping part way out, then drive the rest of the day on Wednesday and be out there for Motor City Foxfest for a meet and greet. So I'm thinking this video will probably come out when we're already out there. I do have a little reveal coming up for the car, so I'll kind of put this out there since this will come out shortly before one of my next videos. But we're coming up with a new name for this car, and I'm going to release that at Motor City Foxfest. All right, this is it for my July 4th work. I was hoping to get a little bit more done today, but I did kind of ease into the day. Hung out with the wife a little this morning, went and got some donuts at the local bakery and that sort of thing, a little walk. But I ended up putting the flares on the back too, just to kind of cover up the duct tape. Hoping that'll help with leaving less gunk and residue when I do pull that tape off and do those fenders the way I want to have them done eventually. But they're stuck on here pretty good. Just use some double-sided tape. We'll see how good that stuff sticks on. But like I said, this is not permanent. Yeah, that's already coming loose a little bit up there on the front side. Oh well, good enough. It'll at least keep the tires kind of covered. They still kind of poke a little bit. They poke a lot on the front. I got a lot of work ahead of me. But I think functionally this car is ready to go, other than, like I said, I do want to get the dash in there because I don't have any headlights wired up. Well, they're wired up. I just don't have the switch to actually operate them in the car. Then maybe we'll just give it a little wipe down too. I do have some smudges on the windshield. I'm not gonna get too carried away. This thing is, it's no beauty queen at the moment, but I'll at least wipe it down, get the dust off of it. Who knows, maybe I'll just leave it dusty. It's kind of got its own little mystique that way. All right, we got the final push to Foxfest here, Motor City Foxfest. I did have 2 tires. So this is a trailer I picked up, 24-foot enclosed trailer. 3 weeks ago, something like that. Maybe it's been a month already. But it did need, like, the sidewalls were like all scrubbed off on one of these tires. And I think it was the forward tire was pretty much down to the wear bars, well, one of them. And then when I took the wheel off, I noticed there was even a flat spot on one spot on the tire. But yeah, the sidewalls were both like scrubbed off, like someone just drug it along a curb for a little ways or something. But and 2 of the tires were decent yet, so I did end up keeping 2 of the tires. But yeah, I should clean them up. There's still some stickum left on that tire. But got 4 brand new tires on here. I do need to get a spare yet. Me and my son Owen, are going to be loading this guy up hopefully tomorrow, so that it'll be ready to rip on. We're going to leave on Tuesday evening. But I was going to get back out here. I really want to. I did drive the car a little bit last night again, so 4th of July, so it was kind of nice to feel some American ponies. But I want to try to get at least the upper part of the dash in, so I got some of it laid out on my table up here. So I am going to put the original gauge cluster back in, just hoping that at least I can use the fuel gauge on that, since I don't have the Terminator X wired up yet. I'm not going to push it that far to try to get that done. And I got the dash laying up here, so hopefully I can get that in without having to drop the steering column. But if I do, hopefully I can do it without having to disconnect all the wires. Yet again, I feel like I'm playing with fire with how much I've had the steering column up and down and in and out and all that crap. So I just worry that I'm gonna ruin some wires or ruin a connection or something like that with this whole Fox body. And I noticed the coolant was just a little bit low, so I'm just got some distilled water sitting there, and I'm just gonna kind of let it go. I did kind of pop the little bleeder on the top of, well, on a 302, that being thermostat housing, but just that coolant neck up there. Oh yeah, I think that's my next and last item on the docket is try to get the dash in here and get door panels on, so at least we got some creature comforts. All right, just thought I'd give one last update. So it's the Saturday, the 5th, next weekend's Foxfest, Motor City Foxfest. So I spent a couple hours getting this dash back in. I know I have no heater or AC hooked up, but I got at least that plugged in, I think, so the fan should come on. Got all the dash bezel in. I just need to find the piece that goes under the dash bezel on the dash. And then I think I know where the piece is that goes around the steering column. And my turn signals don't work. Everything else seems to. I got marker lights, headlights, brake lights. Everything except for turn signals are working right now. And I don't know if I'm going to dig into it to fix it or just run without turn signals in Michigan. And I got some stickers. A friend of ours, she was nice enough to make up some stickers for me. And one, they're in this bag, but I'm not revealing that quite yet. Well, I'll probably record it and put it on here, but the video won't be released until after Motor City Foxfest. But the new name, the new brand for the Mustang here. But I worked on getting the rest of the dash in. Well, the dash underneath the steering column. I thought about putting the console in, but I've got my fan switches wired in there. So I think that's gonna stay. We'll keep that race car looking. And then my son really wanted me to put the door panels on. So I got those on, the driver and the passenger side doors. So it actually looks semi-complete in here. I think this is as far as I'm gonna put the car together. I'm not really happy with how some things are fitting. And then I couldn't remember where some of the screws went for the door, so I did my best guess for putting those in. But at this point, I think all I'm gonna do is take some window cleaner and clean up my windshield a little bit. Maybe hit the windows, vacuum out the seats. They're all full of dust and mess and everything, just because the windows are down in here all the time. I do keep getting water leaking out of the front, but I think it's out of my reservoir tank. Yeah, it's dripping on the floor again. What's up with that? Maybe it's leaking past the hose that's mounted up to the bottom there. Maybe I just need to snug it up a little better. But that's about it. I'm gonna get this thing cleaned up a little bit. And then I got some stickers to put on the window, but I won't show that until a little bit later. And I'll post up some pictures. I did wash this thing with a proper pressure wash. I try not to get too close to some of the windows because I know they leak around there and some things aren't fitting perfectly tight around here. But yeah, I think that's about how she's gonna go to Motor City right here. All right, we got the car loaded in the trailer for the first time. There she is.
Not strapped down yet.
Huh?
Not strapped down.
Not strapped down, but we'll get that done here next. Don't you worry. But it's in the trailer. Went smoother than I thought. What do you think, Owen?
Looks good.
All right, we're gonna tie it down.